Welcome back to another episode of Real Estate Stories. Today, we are going to share with you a question that we get frequently. The question is, how do I sell and buy at the same time? Like, what are my options? And spoiler alert, it's going to kind of depend on your situation. So there's a lot of variables. Stay tuned. If you like the content we've been bringing you, please take a moment to like this video, comment below, and please subscribe to our channel so you'll be notified whenever we upload new content. Mason Greenblatt, aka Little Bear, welcome back.
Thank you.
So we were talking about this. So the question is, if I'm selling and buying, how does that work? What does that look like? And it's a really big topic here. So what is one, like the very first thing I think, Mason, that people want to look at is what?
A home. They want to look at homes.
But as far as options go, what do they want to look at?
Mortgages.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So what do they need to figure out? What's the first thing for people watching this video? What's the first thing they need to explore when they have the concept of, hey, I'm selling my house and I'm buying a house? What's the first thing I need to kind of figure out in trying to create the best possible plan?
Well, there will be a second part because there's too many moving pieces here for one video. The first thing is going to be, can I get a second mortgage while currently having one? Can I qualify for one?
Yeah, and let's clarify, when we say second mortgage, we don't mean a second mortgage on my current house. We mean, can I qualify for a mortgage on another home while I'm living in this home, right?
Yeah,
exactly. So in some cases, the seller / buyer might not have a mortgage on their current house. So then it's a little simpler, but it's not a guarantee that you can qualify for a mortgage either, right? It's still not a guarantee. It depends on the financial situation. Lots of variables there. But the big question that we have to figure out first with the help of a mortgage partner is, okay, I'm selling this house. My mortgage payment is X. My job, I earn X. What happens now? Like, what if I want to go buy a house and the mortgage payment is projected to be $3,000 a month? What does that mean? What does that look like? Can I qualify? Do I have my down payment? Right?
Yeah. Do you have enough for a down
What
payment?
type of mortgage do I qualify for?
Yeah.
Because often what happens is, if the purchase of my new house is contingent on the sale of my current house, it gets a lot more complicated.
Yeah.
And if I am trying to vie for a house around the corner that just happens to be the house that I want, or in another town, and it's contingent on the sale of my current house, and it's a hot house and a lot of people want this house, it's extremely unlikely that a seller is going to accept an offer with my home sale contingency.
Much harder. If you're going up against 5 other offers, it's a challenge.
Right. The other thing that I think you guys watching this should think about if you're in this position is, if a mortgage professional says, oh yeah, you're cool, you got plenty of income, you got assets, you're good, you can sell without buying a new house. I mean, you can buy without selling a new house. And they say, yeah, go ahead, you can go shopping for a house, you're pre-qualified. The question then becomes, are you willing to carry 2 mortgages for some period of time to be determined, right? Because if you're scared to sell your current house before you find that new house, and the mortgage company says, hey, you're good, you can go get yourself another house, and you don't put your current house on the market until you have a contract or maybe even close on the new house, there will be a period of time, could be a month, could be several months, where you're paying 2 mortgages. And even though the mortgage company, this is really important, because a lot of times we see clients, they qualify, the mortgage company says, yeah, you're good. But sometimes you as a buyer will say, you know, I'm looking at these numbers, I just don't like the idea of it, right? I don't like the idea of, I don't know, we'll make up some numbers. I'm making the payment on my current house of $2,000 a month, and I'm going to have the payment on my new house of $3,000 a month. And that could be for a few months that I'm overlapping. And even though the mortgage company says I'm good, I don't like it.
Yeah.
Get it all, right?
It's a lot. Yeah, it's a lot.
And on paper, your income may support that, but it doesn't mean
mentally you support it.
Yeah, right. Thank you. It doesn't mean that mentally it's a good idea for you or you and your partner, whoever the decision makers are, right? So I think that's really important. Then we have another thing for you guys to think about is, and sometimes you can do this, but it has to be done carefully with certain parameters, is if I'm trying to sell my house and I want to buy a house, but I'm scared that I may not be able to find the right house, your agent may be able to help you market your house contingent on you finding suitable housing. I'll say it again, contingent on you finding suitable housing. So at the point, and this is technically regardless of whether you are contingent on selling your house or not selling your house in order to buy. I know this is a lot to grasp perhaps, but feel free to call us and we'll explain it further. If you market your house contingent on you finding suitable housing, that means you find a buyer, or your agent helps you find a buyer, you sign a contract, and there's a clause in that contract that says, this contract is contingent on me finding suitable housing. Basically, if I find my next house tomorrow, we're good. If I find it a couple of weeks from now, we're good.
Sure.
But what if I don't find a house I like?
Then that's why there's an end date on that contract too. So you can't be tied to that contract forever either.
So what I literally hate about those contingencies is that it's a very subjective contingency. Like that entire, and if I'm servicing a buyer and they fall in love with a house where the seller has that contingency, let's say they want 90 days for this, right?
Yeah.
The buyer, or if you're a buyer watching this, you need to understand that 90 days, you're off the market, right? You can't go look at other houses, and you sit around and you wait and you wait and you hope that the seller finds suitable housing. And we have no control over that. It is a subjective decision, like anybody buying a house. They may look at 10 houses tomorrow. Don't like them, right? Not good enough. They may look at 20 houses the following week. Not the right house. So so if you really, really want this house, you might be willing to hold on, in our example, for 90 days, right? It could be longer, it could be shorter. So another option sometimes in this anxiety-ridden process when you're selling and buying, it's a pretty big deal, is to sometimes think about a timeline that might make you comfortable as a seller. So let's say a buyer comes along and they want to close on your house in 30 days. And we've talked about it, and like, I can't close in 30 days. I got to find a house. And there's not a lot of inventory. And maybe you have a trip coming up and you're going to be out of town for a week or 2 weeks. But if you're of the belief that you can find a house if you have enough time, then you don't necessarily have to make the sale contingent on you finding suitable housing, because that does turn off a lot of buyers. A lot of buyers may not be willing to wait. So if you're on the seller side of this, what you might say to your agent is, look, if a buyer comes along, please make it clear, I need 120 days, right? Approximately 4 months as an option. So as long as I have 4 months, I would sign a contract. I'm willing to close on or before 4 months from now.
Yeah.
So if I find a house in 3 weeks and it takes another month to do my mortgage, I'm closing in about 7 weeks on my new house, and I can close on the sale of my current house at the same time, right? So that's another option sometimes. So if you're really anxious, you're going to make it contingent on the sale of your home. Contingent on you finding suitable housing. If you're of the belief that you can find the right house, you just have to have a cushion of time, then that's okay. You can do that. Create that timeline. What does that timeline look for you? Maybe you just need a rental. So that's another thing. So that's even easier to find theoretically. You never really know. But so that's another option. So we had the concept of, if you're selling and buying, can you qualify for 2 mortgages at the same time? Maybe you can, maybe you can't, maybe you can, but you're unwilling to. So something there to think about, right? And then this concept of contingent on finding suitable housing, which is a subjective contingency, but in some cases it does make sense, right?
Yep.
Yeah. And this was, thank you for reminding us at the beginning of this video, Mason. This is one of 2 videos that we're going to be chatting about concepts and strategies if you are selling and buying at the same time, right?
Yep. Yeah, we'll do a second part to this.
Okay. Sounds good. As always, if you like our content, please take a minute to like this video. We greatly appreciate it. Please subscribe to our channel so you can get notified of new content when it gets uploaded, which is pretty regularly. Mason, thank you as always.
Thank you.
And everybody, thank you for watching.